What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? This is your boy Chris Rebeats back with another video. We are live streaming today. Welcome everybody to the stream. I hope that you guys are here to get some more Reason tutorials, Reason tips, Reason tricks. So today we're talking about EQ, okay? And I have a couple things that I want to show you guys today in terms of EQ, both in Reason and also just general EQ tips. So I hope that you guys are feeling well and you guys are ready for this stream. Okay, so with that being said, I do want to kind of dive right into the information with some of the stuff that I already had going and some of the stuff that I already had planned and prepared for you guys today. So first of all, we have this chart right here that I want to show you guys. And this is just going to kind of get our feet wet with EQing in general. Okay, so let's take a look at this. So as we're looking at this, this is a Sweetwater music instrument frequency cheat sheet. Okay, so it's all about EQ. It's all about the different frequency ranges that live and exist in the music world. Okay, so of course I'm messing stuff up already. All right, so I like this cheat sheet because it breaks down different instruments that you would need to use, in other words, different instruments for you to be able to see the frequencies and where they live and where you might want to cut or where you might want to boost certain frequencies, and also styles of those different things. So for example, if we're looking at bass guitar, so it says the weight of the bass guitar, right? Not necessarily the sub of it, but where does that bass guitar live? Where does it sound the best, right? Where do you get the bass guitar sound? It's in this frequency range, somewhere between 50 and 100 hertz. Okay, 50 and 100 hertz. And that makes sense because anything below 50 we see is more sub. And for bass guitar, we don't really want to go for sub necessarily. Sub more for something like 808, or if you wanted to do like a bass synth. But for sure, for a bass guitar, you know, you want to look at that range. The growl of the bass, you know, how are you hearing those strings hitting the guitar? The character, the timbre of it would be in this mid-range from somewhere between, looks like 600 and not quite 1,000, maybe about 600 to about 750, maybe 850. Would be the growl range. And so we're going to take a look at this in action as well as we're looking at this cheat sheet. We're going to look at this in action with Reason. The snap of the bass guitar and the sheen of the bass guitar. If we're looking at this information, this could help us understand how can we get some of these sounds out of our EQ. Where can we boost and where can we take it out? So if we want our bass guitar to sound less growly, then we could reduce some of the frequency, some of the decibels in that frequency range. If we wanted to have more snap to the bass guitar, then we could raise it in that range. Okay, so kick drum, same thing, right? Punch, usually I just go straight for 90 hertz. I go straight for 90 hertz. I don't fool around in between there. If I'm hitting a kick, I just go straight 90 hertz. On this cheat sheet, we're saying we want some of the sub and some of the low frequencies. So we're actually pitching it anywhere between 40 to about 80 or so. 40 to about 80, not quite 90 would be the punch of that kick drum. Like I said, I usually go a little further up to about 90 just to get a little bit more presence in my kick drums. Boxiness, this is one of those things that you might want to remove from your kick drum. You don't want it to sound boxy, or if you want it to sound boxy, you can boost this range. One reason you might want to boost this range for your kick drums would be if you're EQing, specifically EQing for people that are listening in earbuds or headphones. That's going to be something that's going to help you out. If you're EQing for those type of speakers, of course, everybody is not going to be listening on, you know, high definition studio monitors or in cars that have Bose speakers, or, you know, everybody's not going to be listening to the greatest of the greatest sound systems. So sometimes you want to EQ and mix based upon where you want it to be heard, and where you want it to be heard will depend on how you EQ different instruments. And of course, like the click, I learned that as well with 808s, with mixing 808s, because for me, I would just cut out all of the high end a lot of times. And I really just wanted that sub, because that was the sound that I was hearing that really got me interested in that sound of trap music 808s, when listening to people like Young Jeezy and and people like that. That's just how the sub sounded to me. But what I've noticed is over time, the sub, the 808 has changed, and we've added some distortion to it. And so that click section, you know, right here, the growl section in your EQ, that might be something you want to boost. So you take off some of the high end, but you also boost some of that boxiness, some of that click, so that you still have some of that, you know, character in your 808s. And especially if we're talking about, like I said, mixing on different kind of platforms or for different kind of reasons, it really does make the difference, because we're playing music mostly from these tiny phone speakers, and these tiny phone speakers are not going to give you the bass subby sound. You're not going to hear that bass subby sound. So what you need to do is add in some distortion, add in some high end somewhere, maybe not all the way to high frequency, not the 10K, 20K, but you definitely might want to add in somewhere around 500 to 1,000. Add in some of that growl, so that your bass and your sub bass can come through those speakers. And you can do that by, you know, using effects, using distortion, things of that nature. You can use that, and you can also add that to your EQ as well, and that could help. All right, so looking at the snare drum, so we have the girth of the snare drum box, the bark, the crispiness, and the snap. Okay, and so snare drum, if we're EQing a snare drum, these are the different ranges that you might want to think about when you're EQing those different kind of instruments. And I would say that maybe for some of these, we're thinking more acoustic sounds, but essentially presence is presence. 2000 kilohertz and up is going to give you the presence of just like we're looking at acoustic guitar, the presence, organ, the presence. That 2K range and up is going to give you more presence on that instrument. So not only just for acoustic instruments or acoustic sounds, but also can be useful in your digital sounds, your trap drums and things of that nature as well. So you want to just, you know, take a look at where these ranges are. So if we're looking at this chart, we can see the different names that Sweetwater has given, and the frequency range in hertz is down here at the bottom. So you want to keep that in mind. Okay, so keeping it going down, hi-hat, the body of the hi-hat somewhere around here. Again, I think that's more for like an acoustic hi-hat, because some of the hi-hat, some of the acoustic hi-hat, it will have some low end to it. It won't just be just the sizzle, or you know, it just won't just be that high sound, but in an acoustic hi-hat, you're gonna get some of that low end. So it just depends on if you want the body of that hi-hat or not. That could be a range that you could cut, or that could be a range that you could increase. But mostly, as you see, the sizzle, the overtone, that's the main thing we want to be working with that hi-hat. Boosting some of those frequencies so that we get a crispier hi-hat, and then dropping down some of our volume from the hi-hat so it's not as loud, of course, because those frequencies can really be harsh on the ear if they're too loud. But of course, hi-hat is one of those things in modern production, whether we're talking about acoustic hi-hats or we're talking about trap or hip hop hi-hats, whatever kind of hi-hat, it's one of the main things that stands out in the beat. You pretty much got an 808, and then you got a hi-hat. That's pretty much it. Everything else, it just kind of just adds to the flavor, but that's pretty much the base of a lot of music these days. So you just want to keep that in mind as well when you're EQing and leveling your hi-hats and 808s. Okay. Cymbals, pretty much the same thing, pretty much the same in terms of hi-hats. They just have a different name for it. And we also have electric guitar. So we have, again, the girth of the electric guitar. You know, how, you know, I tend to take out a lot of the low end, but, you know, some of that mid-range, I want you to take notice where a lot of the, just in general, where a lot of the different frequency focuses are happening. So a lot of the frequency focuses are happening in the upper part of the frequency range from 2K and up, and a lot is happening in the 300 and below range. See, there's a lot of information here and a lot of information here, and not a lot of information in that mid range. But one thing that they have said, and I've listened to some of the great EQ, talented people out there, and engineers, sound engineers, people that work in mixing and mastering, and they always say the same thing, which is that the heart and soul of the track is in the mid range. And it doesn't necessarily mean like, oh, make sure that your mid range is the loudest thing, or it's boosted the most, or it's cut the most. But what it means is if you can get the mid range of your song sounding really good, then you can get the entire song sounding really good. So a lot of people will buy monitors and speakers and headphones that only focus on the mid range, because if you can level your mid range to sound really, really good, then everything else just kind of falls into place. You don't have to work as hard, versus doing it the other way around, where it's like, man, I want to make sure that my sub is thumping good, and I want to make sure that my hi-hats is crispy, and then I'll just kind of work on the mid range after that. You kind of want to work the other way around. In terms of what the experts in the field have said, the mid-range is the sweet spot that you want to be working in. But it's interesting looking at this chart. Like I said, not a lot of information happening in the mid-range. Definitely for some of the drums, but not a lot of information happening in the mid-range, especially when we get down to everybody's favorite part of EQing and mixing, which is the vocals, when we get down there. But before we get to the vocals, we're looking at acoustic guitar, the bloom, the body of the acoustic guitar. We're looking at the presence, okay? But just wanted to have that note about mid-range. Very important. Some people set up their mixing session to only be in mono and mid-range. And if it's in mono and mid-range, you're not dealing with your stereo field, you're not dealing with other frequencies, and you level in just mono and the mid-range. And if you get that sounding good, then the rest of the beat will sound good. And so that's just something that, like I said, other sound engineers and experts have said about the mid-range. So acoustic guitar, of course, acoustic guitar has that body, that woodiness. So you want to, make sure that you either take it out or add it in. And depending on how real you want it to sound or how you want it to sit in the mix, you might want to be adding in some of that low frequency or removing some of the low frequency. It just really just depends on how you want that acoustic guitar to sound. You might want it to sound like it's big and massive and it's the focal point of the track. So that might be a situation where you add in more of that. I think of songs like Lost Without You with Robin Thicke. The main driving sound is the guitar. So with that being the main driving sound being the guitar, it has a lot of presence in the low end and in the high end. It really drives the rest of the track. Okay, so organ, same thing. We have interesting words. So we have the meat and the body and presence again for the organ. Another one of those sounds where sometimes I just cut out highs and lows. I just go for just the mid range because that's pretty much where it lives actually. So sometimes I just kind of put a high frequency filter and a low pass filter, high pass and low pass filter, and just kind of corner it into one section of this graph, and not have a lot of either side. But that's just one way that I would do it. Piano. Now, piano is one of those things, because if you got a good sample piano, or if you're recording piano, you're not really going to be doing a whole lot of EQing. At least that's what I've grown to learn, or what I've grown to do, is you don't want to do a whole lot of EQing. And one of the reasons why is because, like a lot of other instruments, but specifically each of those notes on the piano is tuned to a specific frequency. And so you can boost and cut those frequencies in your EQ, but typically that's not where you want to get your sound from. Typically, you might be getting your sound that you're looking for through compression or some other kind of EQ, like a filter, or using some reverb, some delay, you're going to want to use something like that as opposed to EQing your piano. But sometimes it's cool to hear a really boxy or a really like boomy piano, because then you can hear the keys and the felt, and you can hear the different things. Like I said, if you got a really good sample piano, then you'll be able to hear those different elements in your piano. And the great thing about it is piano just sounds good. If it sounds good, that's the other thing. If it's played good and the chords are laid down good, and that's what you want to be looking for, not EQing your piano. You want to make sure that if that piano is in there, it sounds good. Now, I know there have been a lot of Grammy nominated, Grammy award winning, multi-platinum diamond records that have been dropped with the piano was literally like 5 or 6 notes. Boop, 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 boop. Just, you know, just a few notes, and it was in like FL keys. It wasn't even like, you know, something crazy out here. It wasn't like a Contact Library piano, the Giant, or Alicia Keys. It wasn't Reason piano, Radical piano. It wasn't anything sampled crazy. It was like FL keys, 5 or 6 notes. And look at that, we got a Grammy winning song here. And maybe that is okay. Some people say simple is better and simple makes the hit, so maybe that is the case. But when it comes to your EQing, maybe just, you know, keep it easy on the piano. But if you do need to do some EQing, then these would be the areas you want to add some presence to make the top ends of those notes come out and ring out and give you a nice high pitch, high tone, give you that character, that timbre that you're looking for. You might want to raise the presence around 5K. 2K to 5K is where you want to be for the presence there. Okay. And we want to just boost some of the low end sometimes. That's what I do for piano. Of course, like I said, it really depends on whether or not your piano is going to be the center of the track or if it's just an accompanying of the track. It really depends on where the piano is going to be. Like, what kind of song is it? Is it just part of the song? Is it the main song? Is it just the piano with a company, like a vocalist? Or is the piano just in the background? If the piano is just in the background, then you don't need to add a lot of bass to bring the piano out necessarily, because you're gonna have your bass guitar, you're gonna have your kick drum, you're gonna have your 808. You don't want that to get in the way of those frequencies. But if you got a piano solo, or if you got a situation where you want to hear all of the piano sound as greatest, I think that would be the time when you want to add in some of that bloom, as they call it, the bloom of the piano. You want to add some of that in. All right, now to let's skip these two and go to tenor sax. Why they added in tenor sax, I don't know. Just adding more instruments, I guess. Tenor sax, the growl, the bite, the overtones, the air, as you can see in this very, very high frequency area. Very interesting stuff. So the air of it, you know, you want the clarity of the sound to come through. You want to be in that range, 10K and above. Even for our overall mix, that's one of the last things that I will do on the last EQ that I have in my chain. I just boost that section until things start sounding clear, until things start sounding really good. Of course, on the other end, you could also decrease some of your subs, some of your bass, and that will also create a clearness. Like I know, like in some of my very early beats, I would just have like an opposite slope. It would be the high end going up, but the low end going down, just to reduce some of the subs. Because of course I was over leveling kick drums and bass drums anyway. I was making all that stuff loud in the mix, so I was trying to fix it in the EQ. But that's one thing that I would do for that. But you definitely want to add in some air, maybe in the last parts of your track, in the final mix, add in a little air on the EQ. Now, soprano voice, tenor voice. Soprano would be like, not even, I was finna say the wrong name there. A soprano would be like Ariana Grande, very high, like actual soprano too, not like mezzo soprano where it's like kind of high, but like, no, like actual soprano would be like Ariana Grande. And I know what they're doing here on this chart. They're separating soprano and tenor, and they're saying male and female. That's essentially what they're doing. Is male or female, right? Soprano voice being female voice, tenor voice being a male voice. So some of the frequencies are pretty much the same. They just shift a little bit. Makes sense. For the tenor voice, you have male voices. They tend to be deeper in male voices. So you want to add in a little bit more of that low end as opposed to on the female voice. But look at the word that they use there, fundamental. Now that's interesting that they use the word fundamental for that section of frequency. The word fundamental means forming a necessary base or core or central importance. Okay, just so we could go to Webster real quick to see what that means. Fundamental. I think that's very interesting that they put that there. I might have even switched the body and fundamental around in my thought process, but maybe that's because I'm still a neophyte and I'm still learning this stuff. We learning as we go. But I would switch fundamental and body around. But nonetheless, fundamental, if we're saying that's the core of the sound, that's where your that's why I would say you would switch those two. To me, I would think body would be more toward the low end. Fundamental would be more toward the high end. Maybe they really move some stuff around because they want me to purchase this this chart instead of just using it off their website. I don't know. But I would switch those around. To me, I think the fundamental comes more toward the higher part of that low frequency. But let's just go with what they say. So we're looking at anywhere between 50 to 60 and up to about 120 hertz. That's very, very low. Like I'm thinking more at 100 to 300 would be, where that voice lives. But nonetheless, these are the frequencies that they're giving us. So when you think of these words, and I know that there is a plugin actually that there's somebody in the chat knows exactly what I'm talking about. There's a plugin that it's a vocal plugin that you use, and it pretty much just has 4 like different volume levels that you can use in order to, tweak your vocals. Instead of giving you all of the ranges and all of the EQ that you could get, it just gives you this, like clarity, air, presence, body. It just has that. I can't think of what the name of the plugin is by. I think it's by Producer Grind. Excuse me. Let me see. But essentially, yeah, you want to, looking at this, it ain't them. It ain't Producer Grind. It ain't them. I can't find it. Somebody knows what I'm talking about. Y'all seen you guys have seen the different advertisements that I have seen as well. But nonetheless, you got the main core of the vocal, you have the body of the vocal, you have the presence of the vocal. And a lot of time that presence area is tricky because you want to have some presence and air, but you also, with vocals, you don't want sibilance. You don't want sibilance happening in your track. That's those T's and S's that people are saying. And a lot of times you get that high sizzle that kind of sounds like an open hi-hat, or like, especially like a 808 open hi-hat in your ear if you don't have a de-esser. So you definitely want to have a de-esser. So the reason why I say the presence can be tricky is because you want to add some presence to the voice. You want people to be able to hear that high, the clarity of their voice, but you also got to have a de-esser. You also got to tame that section as well, because if you don't tame it, then you get a lot of sibilance, and the sibilance is going to cause somebody's ears to fatigue if they're having to listen to that over and over and over again. And it's still just not going to it's just still not going to sound good. So okay, hold on. So we are pretty much done with this cheat sheet. I hope you guys enjoyed it. You know what I'm saying? take a screenshot or something. It is on Sweetwater. It is something that they are selling though. So, you know, maybe, I don't know. Maybe don't do that. Okay, so now that we're done with that section of it, we're going to get into Reason. We're going to actually look at some stuff. Now, I did see some people in the chat. Shout outs to everybody that's here in the chat watching the stream. I did notice that we have a couple different options for what people are saying. How many stock EQs does Reason have? You know, we have pretty much everybody has said everything. 3, 4, 5, 6. Everyone has said everything. We'll reveal what the actual number is. We'll look at it together and reveal the actual number. I can tell you for sure that it is not 3. I can tell you right now for sure that it is not 3. Okay. It might be one of those situations where it's like, Chris, man, you said it's not 3, but technically that's not 1, but it is. It's an EQ. So if it can EQ, if it can get those frequencies and it can boost and lower gain, then it's an EQ. Okay. So one other thing that I did see though was I saw Face the Music was saying that Reason doesn't have, where is this thing at, man? This guy, where is it at? Still wondering why Reason doesn't have a stock de-esser. And I'm here to tell you that it absolutely has a stock de-esser. Okay, it has multiple de-essers, and it is using their stock. It's using their stock effects. Now, what I can say is they don't have a dedicated de-esser. Like there's no effect or instrument that is a de-esser, but they do have combinators that are de-essers. Okay, so I'm gonna show you how you can get to that de-esser right now. All right, so let's look at this real quick. We're inside of Reason. And if you go up here to the top, so here's the 3 EQs. If you search EQ, here's the 3 EQs that most people do know about: channel EQ, M-class equalizer, 2-band parametric EQ. If we go up here to the top and we hit not effects, we want to be in the factory sounds library. And then we type in D, we should see it come up. Where are we at? Effect patches, more. Here we go, right there. There's our de-esser, okay? So we have our de-esser here. There's 2 de-essers. There should be one. There's another de-esser in here as well, though. There's like an M-class de-esser. That's, yeah, right there, M-class de-esser. So when you find these de-essers, oh, he says zoom out. Let me, I got y'all. Hold on real quick. Hold on. Oh, wait, it's this thing. I got you. But when you find these de-essers, guys, save them, okay? Save them so that they're there, so that you know where they are, and that you can use them for later use, okay? I just got to get to my other, screen so that you guys can see the rest of Reason. Here we go. There we go. That's better. So de-esser and M-class de-esser. And then we can also take a second to look and see like how the actual device works. So here's that range, 5K to 10K right here. Okay, where a lot of those sibilance issues happens. But sometimes you need to move that area, and sometimes it's not just there where it's coming through the most. So you have this frequency knob right here, and you can shift the frequency ever so slightly to get to the area that you want it to be. That's going to catch those sibilances. Okay. Same thing here with the M-class de-esser. You can, well, you got to turn up the de-esser amount, but you can move this frequency here and it will change where the frequency of it goes. Now look at the difference between the M-class de-esser and the regular de-esser. M-class de-esser's frequency range goes all the way, it looks like we're hitting somewhere at 2,000, and it goes all the way up to about 10,000. Versus the regular de-esser only stays within this range below 10,000 and like just at 5,000. So between 5 and 9,500 kilohertz. So that's one difference between the two. I'd like to go to the D-class, to the M-class de-esser. for whatever reason, but yeah, that's that. Now, how does it actually work? So we have a stack here. They both are doing some different things, actually. It's kind of interesting because this one has this side chain situation. This one does not. It kind of looks like it just knows where to go. It's using a filter here to filter out those certain parts. I like, okay, so the way that it's set up, I like it better with the de-esser because this is how I learned how to do it. A lot of the work is actually happening in the editor, and it's happening from the side chain. So bear with me, y'all. Bear with me. They're using a stereo imager to select a certain bandwidth, right? This frequency right here. They're using that to select that. And they got it on the solo on the high band because we're just trying to catch the sibilants, right? They're using the side chain of the compressor. So when the sound comes in, it usually the ratio and thread, like you want it to be very hard, very high, so that, like, and what I mean by that is like a high ratio, a low threshold. So that way when it comes through, it can catch the sibilants, right? It can catch the sibilants right away. But it's using the side chain of it, okay, to go into and be routed into the equalizer, okay? And what that does is every time that that sound comes through, it's going to adjust this frequency so that it doesn't, so that it drops that frequency, okay, just for that moment. So that way you're not always going to be having, a decrease in this area, because like I said, presence and air is good for vocals. It's just sometime with that range for the sibilants, you don't want that to be happening. So you want that to happen. Okay. So now it doesn't make sense to have all of that talking and not actually have some vocals, right? So let me see where I can get some vocals real quick, guys. Okay, back to good old Curtis King. You know what I'm saying? Because those are some of the acapellas that I have. I have those ready here. Back to good old Curtis. You seem so far away. All right, cool. So we have that. So now let's add on to that track. Let me see where we at. Right here, Bigger Plans. I'm gonna move it over here so we can see it a little bit more. So here's the track for Bigger Plans. Okay, we're gonna go over here and we're gonna add in that de-esser that we found. Okay, de-ess. How do I spell it? What am I missing here? How do you spell it? Do I not know how to spell D? Oh, they put a space, so it's de-esser. De-esser. All right, anyway, we're just gonna drop it. We're gonna drop it right here and it'll add it into that situation. And then we're gonna just kind of play the sound so that you guys can see what the de-esser is doing. You seem so far away. You seem so far away. So let's make it very dramatic here. Okay. Let me see. You seem so far away. I know. So that's just like regular. It just sounds like regular compression right there because the compressor is so high, right? I know you're on your way. I know you're on your way. I know you're on your way, but you seem so far away. Yeah. So let's use the other de-esser as well so we can see what that one does. But what it is doing is it's boosting that area so that way the compressor is acting off of what the EQ is pushing out. The EQ is pushing out from that stereo imager only the high band, and then it's pushing out that frequency that is being boosted is coming through first to the compressor, and then it's dropping that sound. Let's look at the M class de-esser now. I want to say this is the one. I'm done. Yes. So this is why I say I like the M class de-esser, because the M class de-esser does something a little different. What the M class de-esser does is it's using the editor. It's using let's see, where is it at? Where is it at? Where is it at? It's using the frequency. So it's using the side chain to drop the sound. See, it's using this CV out. It's using it to drop the sound as opposed to boosting the sound and then using a compressor for that specific sound. So it's actually dropping the EQ only when the sound is coming through. So as we play it,
you seem so far away.
See how it just drops?
You seem so far away. You seem so far away.
And that's just like a really cool looking effect right there. I mean, it just looks so cool to even be able to just kind of see it. I don't know, it's weird because I'm a weirdo. But even just watching the knobs automate automatically based upon the sound. And you can use that with anything. Like you can set that CV situation up with anything in Reason so that as sound comes in, a knob or fader moves or adjusts, right? The side chaining kind of situation. You can set that up for anything, not just a de-esser, but you know, you can set it up to do it as an effect. You can set it up like to do it as like a wah-wah effect, or you know, like a pulsing effect or sweeping effect. You can set it up for anything, but it is pretty cool. So there is indeed a de-esser stock inside of Reason. James Robinson, thank you so much for giving us the routing so that we could get to it. I like using the search, but I just didn't know how to search it because they spelled it with two different words, and capital and uncapital, but whatever, it's there. And what you do is when you find it, you know, you get that thing, okay, drop that somewhere, you know, save it, you know, shortcut it and use it for something else. All right. Don't blank out on me, Reason.
I'm done playing the psychic, no more playing the pilot, no more driving the car through fog without a license, guy. I know you never asked me to be your sidekick, but I've been grinding since the Motorola Sidekick. Since the Motorola Sidekick. Since the Motorola Sidekick.
Okay, I want to take this part. I know that's annoying. I'm sorry, y'all. Oh, my voice sounds really low compared to his. We got to turn him down. What's up?
Since the Motorola Sidekick.
Okay. I'll turn my voice up a little bit. I don't know if I sound loud or not. I'm going to just give me a little bit of volume. Oh, I had a lot of volume. Don't add no more volume. Okay, here we go. He was just coming in kind of loud. All right, so taking this part because he says since the Motorola. Since, right now, I think I'm going to back it up a little bit.
Since the Motorola Sidekick. Be your sidekick, but I've been grinding since the Motorola Sidekick. Be your sidekick, but I've been grinding since the Motorola Sidekick. Be your sidekick, but I've been grinding since the...
If we turn down this DS, because it's just kind of overpowering it now, and it's kind of getting to the point where it's just all of the volume that's coming through and not just the simulants.
The Motorola Sidekick.
So see the difference right there?
Be your sidekick, but I've been grinding since the Motorola Sidekick.
See, when he says side, it drops down much lower. And that's what we want. So you don't want to just have the DS amount way high.
Be your sidekick, but
now it's just everything he says is getting dropped in that area. And the word but doesn't necessarily need, you know, a de-esser. The S's are the things that need the de-essers.
I've been grinding since the Motorola Sidekick.
So, and of course, these are like vocals that have already been mixed and mastered, and he's produced and I guess I ain't had enough food to eat today because I can't remember words. Is that what it is? Do I need a coffee or something? He's already uploaded and put out the album DIY 2. So these vocals have already had a round of processing. It doesn't need my extra processing, but it's just to show you that that sibilance is still there, or, you know, Reason can still catch it. It can still catch some of the sibilance. So, you know, it's there. As far as like using it, you know, you can move the frequency.
Be your sidekick, but I've been grinding since the Motorola Sidekick. Be your sidekick, but I've been grinding since the Motorola Sidekick. Be your sidekick, but I've been grinding since the Motorola Sidekick.
You can find it. You can also open up the bandwidth or drop
your sidekick.
So now it's like a lot narrower, or you can open it up like this, turn it
but
up.
I've been grinding since the Motorola Sidekick.
And now you can really hear the presence of the voice is completely gone. He sounds like he's talking out the side of his mouth. He sounds like someone he has like, I don't know, like they put like a wall in front of the microphone or something. Like that doesn't sound good.
Be your sidekick, but I've been grinding since the Motorola Sidekick.
Very muffled. So we don't want the bandwidth to be that high.
Be your sidekick, but I've been grinding since the Motorola Sidekick.
Hey, I had a sidekick. I remember that thing too. That was one of them things where it was like, man, I don't even have a text message. I don't have an aim. I don't have a phone call. I just want to flip. I just want to flip my phone open. Flap, flap, flap. I just want to flip my mic. I just want to flip my, I just want to flip my phone open. That's all I want to do. I don't have a reason to do it. I just want to just do it right now just because I want to do it. All right, so let's get to this EQ, some more of this EQ situation. So if we're looking here in EQ, if we go by their combinator patches, then Reason has hundreds of EQs and things that classify. Oh man, we all tongue-tied today. Hundreds of things that classify as EQs, but we're not talking about that. I'm talking about the actual effects. So yes, if you're using an EQ in Reason, you have your channel EQ. We can add that in. You have your M-class equalizer. You have your two-band equalizer, parametric equalizer. Now let's just look at these real quick so we can just talk about these because we're talking about EQ today. Okay. I'm gonna start with the OG parametric equalizer 2. I like this thing when I want to pinpoint some stuff, and I like how it has a graphical display. Just like M-class equalizer has a graphical display, you can kind of see where you're going to be increasing, and you can, you have your Q width, and you can really dial this thing in like this. I wish the numbers, see how the numbers go from 127 to 0, because that's how Reason automation works. I wish those numbers were the numbers of the hertz instead, because then I could see it a little bit more. But now that we have, now that we have application zoom, it's all good. I can just, oh, that zoomed in a lot. I can just come over here. I could just zoom in like this. And so now I can see a little bit better. Look at those knobs, guys. Wow, they did a great job with the little high definition upgrade that they did. So I can see, okay, cool, 31 hertz. And I have to just kind of guesstimate. I had to guesstimate. Oh, 31, okay, 62. All right, you kind of guess, where it is. But it's not extremely precise, as well as with the gain increase and decrease as well, because you can go to 18 plus or negative 18, but what's the values in between? This is what I mean. I wish that number there that's showing 0 to 127, I wish that or 64 in this case, I wish that number was the actual gain number. But I like using this guy because it's straightforward and it's straight to the point. You got 2 EQs if you need them. Sometimes I just use it just for a drum. Like if I do a kick drum, like we were talking about with our cheat sheet earlier. If we're talking about with our no, don't tell me I closed it. I did close it, y'all. But if we're talking about with our cheat sheet earlier, and we're talking about, the thump of the kick drum, somewhere between, essentially, the number they said was 50 and 100. I'm leaning more toward 90. So I'm going to try to find 90 in there. And because this Q value gets so tight, you can really get your drum to sound like, I don't know, it really will target that frequency and push it. And you will notice that you never will need to do 18 plus with your Q that high and that harsh, because it will just drive the sound so much. So of course I'm doing that thing where I'm telling instead of showing. So let's show a little bit. Let's take this. Let me see. So we have this kick drum here. pretty weak kick drum. Let's add a 2-band EQ. Let's do what I was just saying. How you can literally hear the sub frequencies? So you know you don't need that much, but you know if you add that, you have a little bit of extra sub coming in. All right, yeah, a little audition in there. So same thing, right? So we don't really need that much, but it does, you can hear it. I'm gonna turn this up. You can really hear it. And you can take it away. Just adds a little bit. And for some reason, with the 2-band pair, with this thing, if I wanted to just add in just a little more kick drum thump, a little more sub, I can go right there to that and know that I'm going to get that every single time. I can do the same thing with the M class, but I don't know. It's just a feeling thing. I don't know. Maybe it's because if I never use Reason 3, you know, if I didn't start at Reason 3, it probably would not matter. On your parametric here, you can turn up your Q. You can go to your gain. And you can see it a little bit better. Oh, look, they do it here with parametric. They actually show you the frequency hertz. Okay, good. So I wasn't tripping. There is something. So on this one, it will show you the number of hertz and it will show you the gain. Okay, perfect. So that's why M class would be the way to go. But for some reason, I don't know, the sound. There's something about the sound of this one that I just like more. For some reason, I don't know. Maybe they don't have different sounds. Maybe they sound exactly the same. You use them, you check it out. You might find yourself very limited with this one, but in the pinch, and it was like, I just want to just do this real quick, that's when that guy comes in handy, and it's so small and tiny and cute. Okay, so with the M class equalizer, you can get pretty low, and you can, you know, get very specific, because now you know, okay, we're at 52 hertz. Okay, we're at 62 hertz, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, and you know that that point is going to be there. And you can boost and you can do what you need to do. We know that we want to be somewhere in this upper mid just to give us not that much Q, but not that much gain. So maybe like something like that to give us in that boxy area that we were talking about, just to give us a little bit of presence, or not really presence, but more just character, I guess we would say, in that kick drum. Just give us a little character there to kind of help it come through the mix and come through in them little tiny headphones that we have. So we could just add in right here and into this range. And if we go crazy with it, this, of course, is one thing I really love to do, is sweeping. And I might just cut that, because it's like a harmonic that's there. If I boost it, you can hear it. If you don't boost it, it's still there. It's just not as prevalent. So if I cut it, then I know it's gone. Anyway, more auditioning there because I'm a kid and I guess I just want to have fun and play around. But you do get the added high shelf there, low shelf here, and you can still see it graphically. Channel EQ Can you connect drums from combinator to redrum? Yes, I guess the question would just be why and how do you want to do that, Sasha? So why and how? So give me the why and how, and then we can talk about what you're saying. When you say connecting drums from combinator, what exactly do you mean by that? Do you mean to use the redrum sequencer, or is there another reason to do what you're saying? Okay, so with the channel EQ, I think you get even more precise with the sound, and you get even more precise changing. You have your E mode, you have your bell for the low frequency or high frequency, which you don't get in these options. You don't get the option to turn this into a 4-band EQ essentially and have a 4 parametric. You don't have that option. You just have a low shelf, high shelf. Here you can press bell, and then essentially it turns this high shelf into a parametric like this, where you can actually move it around, and not like this much of a range. It's like more like this range, but you can at least move it around and use it in that way if you use the bell. The only problem with the channel EQ, if you're using it in your rack, is of course you can't actually see graphically what it's doing. So you got to use your ears. It's the one thing that it does. It makes you have to use your ears. So you get a lot more functionality because you have the high pass filter, low pass filter. You can do a parametric with the bell curve, with the bell on your low filter, your high filter, and then of course you have the low mids and the high mids. And of course, because it's modeled after SSL technology and everything like that, the sound, the warmth, and the feel of it is supposed to mimic using that soundboard and using those plugins. So, and it looks good, it looks nice, it just does not have the graphic input. But wait, if that was 3 EQs, then where do the rest of the EQs come from? Here is your 4th EQ, because you can load up those as plugins and inserts, and then you have in your mixer yet again another EQ. So that's at least 4 EQs. You turn your EQ on and you can get to dialing in those different frequencies. I really should not have closed that window. Let me see if I can find that window in my history or something, because I want to be able to pull it back up again. Come on, come on, come on. There it is. Okay, great. Let's pull this guy up. Now you can dial in these frequencies, right? Oh, come on, pull it, pull it, pull it, pull it, do it, do it. Now you can dial in these frequencies that it says, okay? And you have the availability to be able to do so when you are using this EQ. All right, so anyway, let me not just ramble on, because I'm rambling a little bit. You have your 2-band EQ, M-class EQ, channel EQ, and the channel EQ in the actual channel. So you have 4 EQs thus far. And what I like about the channel EQ on your mixer, of course, you can press F2. And when you press F2, you then now have access to be able to see graphically, what is this EQ doing? You can even see it. You can even watch it over here. As I turn this up, the dB goes up. I turn it down, the dB goes down. The kilohertz, they move left and right. I can turn on my E mode, which will tighten this up. I can hold Alt, and that will tighten it even more. But look at the difference here. It's no, stop, Sasha. I didn't see what he just said. I didn't see what he said. No. You trying? Come on, man. That's the hidden EQ inside of Reason. That's the hidden EQ that I'm trying to get to. Hold on. Don't, you're getting ahead of me. You're getting ahead of me. So look at the channel EQ though. Like the bandwidth that you have is not as much. Okay. You still have the same amount of dBs that you can increase and decrease, which is around 18, right? But you can see graphically the sound. So I like this one because you can see as I, click it, you can see, oh, there's something, that rim shot. I can see all of the frequencies that are being affected by that rim shot when that rim shot comes in. So I'm looking right here. There's a lot of information here. So maybe if I take that up, oh, look, that sounds like the thwack of that rim shot. And now I can take it away. So that absolutely is something. And depending on, how much I affect this area, it's going to change the way that that rim shot sounds. So we got like wood. I guess it would be the woodiness. What did Sweetwater call this on the snare? Sweetwater called that area, let me see where we at. We are about 640 to 1.3 kilohertz. 640, I don't even think they have that. Oh, the bark, here we are. The bark of the snare. Hey, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. And we can totally hear the difference when we have this EQ on and off, right? I always seek to EQ drum sounds individually. I don't know, it seems better in the long run. Absolutely. You are absolutely right, because that rim shot is getting a lot of love from that low end that I added for that kick drum. And so you're absolutely right. In Reason, of course, I'm using the Reason drum kits. You have the availability to individually track out these different sounds. So that would be something that we would need to do. We need to route this to a new channel, and then we can route the snare to a new channel. And now our snare is not getting that EQ. And now we have the two different sounds, right? So here's our kick. Let's just do that real quick. And here's our snare. And we can do that same thing that we just did this time. So we'll turn on our EQ. I'll take off some of that low pass, and we'll get to that 640 area that we were just at. And we'll turn on E mode. We'll boost that a little bit. Ooh, I like it. I like it. Let me see. Add in my hi-hats again. Catchy Noise Productions, what's up, man? So yes, that is something that you could do. And of course, normally if I'm doing my redrum, I'm going to do this. I don't like Reason drum kits for that, because with Reason drum kits, I like to take advantage of the actual master effects, like this compressor. I like to take advantage of, there's a distortion here and transient, and you lose some of that when you route out the sound, because what you're routing out, you're not routing out these rooms, you're just routing out the direct mic. The direct kick mic is being routed out, so you're losing all of the overhead, the room, you're losing all of that stuff, because all of that has its own, see, overhead room that has its own output, so you lose some of that stuff. Anyway, don't let me make excuses for myself. You are absolutely correct. You should individually EQ your drums. And it makes a difference. Even just looking at when we did that rim shot there, I think that's the sound that I always look for, is to hear that rim shot just really pop like that. And to know that, boom, to get that pop, we got to hit that bark. We got to hit the bark between 500 and 1000 kilohertz. But even if you didn't have this cheat sheet, what you could do is use that F2 and just click it, right? Like even if we turn off our EQ we can see the different parts, the different peaks and valleys. Right here is a peak, right here is a peak, right here is a peak, right here is a peak. We can see the different peaks. Here's a peak, here's a peak, and everything else is just information and data. So as you're seeing those peaks, oh, these are different places where the most of the sound that I'm hearing is coming out. So if I increase those areas or decrease those areas, I'm going to change the overall sound of that instrument, of that effect. Okay, so so that's one way that we could do it, because I just love that. I'm gonna turn that EQ back on because I really like to hear that pop. I need my headphones. I'm using my speakers right now, but I like to hear that pop. It's a good pop. And you hear the difference when you have the little room and the overheads come in. Like, it's just a difference. I'm gonna turn them down some. Okay, Chris. So we were talking about these EQs, right? Sasha kind of spoiled it, but it's okay, Sasha. I forgive you because you cool. You cool like that. But one thing that we were talking about with EQs is we cannot forget that there is another EQ. And this EQ is using the old school BV512 vocoder. Now, vocoder is used to manipulate the carrier sound to create a modulator with your mic, and then you can kind of use a piano, a synth, a keyboard, or something like that in order to get this electronic sounding vocoder sound. It's not like a talk box, not like a talk box. With a talk box, you got to have the tube going into your mouth as you're singing into it, and it has a totally different sound, but similar to a talk box. That's what you normally would use a vocoder for. But they have this switch right here that says equalizer. And if you turn this to equalizer, whatever you have this plugged into, this now becomes an equalizer. Now, why would we ever want this to be used as an equalizer? Well, the reason why we want this to be used as an equalizer is because we have a little bit more fine-tuned adjustments. When we were looking at our other EQs, you can move around between different places and you can get lost in all of the different frequencies. The B12, the BV512, it has these set frequency areas that can really just help you get the sound a lot quicker. And it has like different ways that you can emphasize the sound when you're using it as an EQ, as opposed to the other EQs. So we got this kick drum. Let's change this. Let's change this to a. All right, let's turn these off. So now we have that, right? Now we done got rid of all of that. We just got rid of that so fast. Now let's take off the first one. So we can really hear, oh, look, this band level 2 right here sounds like that. Now that's if you wanted to do something just very quick, right? You could just get in there real quick, do it. You can just, affect it, and you have this shift, which will allow you to move. It's essentially like moving the entire the entire like range. It would look something like this. As you do your shift, it just moves it from this area to this area. It moves all of the frequencies to be located into a different part of the frequency. So if we have the shift all the way up, then you would think like this lowest band level is not 40 or 50 or 60, but it's probably more like 300, 400, 500. Again, not as precise, but for getting, like, for designing a sound, or for getting a sound that you're looking for, or for automation, because you can automate this shift, right? And you can get some really cool sounds. Yeah, you can do a lot of different stuff with that, right? You could channel this shift, you could channel that shift to another CV, and then as that comes up, the shift comes up. Like, it's just like a lot of different things that you can do, man. But one of the reasons that caught my attention with this, so like now we can see a lot more frequencies. One of the reasons that caught my attention with this, we're gonna have a little story mode real quick. And I'm gonna share with you guys the first time that I ever like experienced EQ or like mixing or like whatever. We're gonna get into a little story time. We done did a lot of Reason EQing tips and things like that. Now let's switch over to story time real quick. Okay, here we go. So the first time that I ever experienced EQ was when I was riding in the car with my dad. I was riding in the car with my dad, and my dad always had a thumping sound system. You would know my dad was pulling up. You would hear him before you would see him. He had all kinds of amps, all kinds of speakers. I'll put it to you like this. His sound system would often cost more than the vehicle itself. Would get the vehicle, pay it off. Whatever the vehicle costs, the sound system costs more than the vehicle. Beautiful sound system, and everything. And one of the first times I remember, underneath, like, you know, where his dashboard is, he had this long strip, and it just had these knobs. And I was like, what is that? Like, I'm hearing everything. I'm like, what is that? And he's like, that's the EQ. And like, and I kind of understood, like, when you get in a car, the car stereo has like an EQ. It has like treble and bass and mid, like 3. That's it. Oh, you want to turn the bass up? You just turn the bass up. You want to turn the treble up? Turn the treble up. You want to turn the mid down? Turn the mid down. And everything would just always look like a U. Whenever I get into a car, it would be like 3 up on the bass, -6 in the mid, and then like 8 up on the treble, because that's like typically what sounds good to me, I guess. I don't know. When I saw all of these knobs, I'm like, what is all of that for? And it's like, well, each frequency has a purpose. And I want to be able to tune. Sometimes he would be listening to different songs, changing the equalizer as he went. And I'm looking like, why are you doing that? It's like, because I want to hear the song how I want to hear it. So I'm boosting. Some songs I'm boosting the sub because I want to hear the sub more. Some songs I don't want to hear the sub as much, so I'm turning down the sub. Some sounds I want to hear more of that crispiness, you know, like he wants to hear the whack. Boom, boom, boom. He wanted to hear that. And so he's like changing the EQ. And of course he would have like his standard set of like, but I'm looking like all of these intricate little levels to change the EQ because he wanted his sound of his music to be a specific way. My dad has been teaching me music my whole life. I just didn't know it. He had been teaching me how to do this my whole life. I just didn't know it. And so that's one of my earliest memories. So now let's fast forward, because I didn't just say all that for no reason. I have to fast forward. As I fast forward and then get to this, because this reminds me of that. This is a whole nother beast than this, or this, or this, or even this. This, even though it's not as labeled, but it is fine-tuned. So as you are looking, I mean, look at the range that you can change these individual bands. You don't know each individual band, but what you can do is you can drop these all out and you can do one at a time. And you can figure it out. You know that this is somewhere, this is like 0 to 20. All right, that might be like 30 to 40, whatever the case is. But now I can even more fine tune each individual frequency there. Like how we was looking at here with these, well, now this is all, like how we was looking at here. I can't affect every single peak. I can't affect every single peak with this EQ. I only get ranges. I get ranges and I'm limited in my ranges. But when I turn this guy on, I mean, that changes the sound altogether. Maybe I don't want that. Very detailed, because now we're manipulating. And if you don't want to go that detailed, then you can go down to like 16, right? And it's the same premise, it's just less bands. Now, it does change the way that it sounds. I'll give you that. It's not like a direct EQ situation. If you're changing these frequencies, it's gonna get artificial very quickly. So you either gotta go high or low. So would I use that for like mixing, mastering, or something like that? No, like I wouldn't suggest. You give it a try, because sometimes, like for example, Polar, for example, just loading in Polar, even if you don't change these, let me see, go to a reset. Even if you don't change these shifters, the algorithm section, this slow, medium, fast, will change the way that your sound sounds. And so when you start changing the shifter, it changes it a second time. So somebody might say, I don't like the way that sounds because it doesn't sound, I don't know what word, whatever, fill in the adjective you want to use there. But it could make it sound more computery or less computery, more authentic or less authentic. It could sound processed or less processed. So maybe that could be something that you could do. Maybe you could put a BV 512. Maybe you could put that on your master track with just a 4-band, and you just use it to just turn up your highs just a little bit, and then maybe turn down this mid like a slight touch, and then turn up the bass just a little bit more. And maybe you do just use that, and if you like how it sounds, then it doesn't matter that it wasn't the SSL modeled EQ, or it doesn't matter that it's not a EQ that's supposed to be used that way. It's like, did it boost the signals that I wanted it to boost? Did it sound how I wanted it to sound? Did it do what I wanted it to do? If it did, then we good. We did what we wanted to do. If we didn't, then don't use it. But my count is 5. So let me see. Is there another EQ that I missed? A lot of people are putting 6. 6 is what the poll is saying for Reasons EQ. I don't have another. My number was 5. It was the 3 Reason EQs, the main EQs: channel EQ, M-class equalizer. It was your graphic EQ from your channel strip. That was an EQ, and it was BV512. This guy right here, using it as an EQ, as a stock EQ. Now they do have rack extensions. They have rack extensions that you could use. Technically, Audiomatic Retro Transformer, it's not an EQ, but it has some EQ presets in it. You could use it like an EQ, because I definitely use retro. I use it like an EQ. I know that if I go to like, not necessarily like hi-fi, like this is exactly what this is. Turn the bass up and turn the treble up. That's exactly what hi-fi is. I use it like that. Bottom, I just turn the bass up. Sometimes I go to that, just turn the bass up. Bright, I just want it to sound like it got a lot more treble than it needs to. I go to bright. If I want to like thin it out, I go to VHS or radio or something like that. So it could be used like an EQ, but I wouldn't call it an EQ because you can't actually change the frequency specifically. So definitely the vocoder, the channel EQ, the M-class EQ for sure, the 2-band EQ, and nope, I think I would end it there. I wouldn't call it amp or scream for an EQ. Technically though, technically there is an EQ section. There's a cut section in Scream. We just getting Reason nerdy now, y'all. But technically there is one there, but that would be it for the Reason stock. So the winner is 5. The winner is 5, unless you want to get really technical and say, well, hold on now. Scream has an EQ, and you could just use this as EQ, low, mid, high. And that would just be, look, that's how we do it in the car right there. A little bit more bass, a lot more treble, and turn down the mids. And I guess the reason why the mix happens that way, is because of the type of speakers that are inside of cars. Nowadays, car speakers are a lot better. But even like when I was talking about earlier, like some mixing engineers will buy specific monitors because those specific monitors will only have certain frequencies, or they'll only be for mids. I know there's some very expensive pairs. You guys probably know about them. They're very expensive pairs of monitors that you can get because they focus in on the mid range. And the idea is like, you know, if you can't hear your high and you can't hear your low and you only can hear that mid, if everything is level right in the mid, then when the subwoofer does come through and when the tweeters do come through, then everything sounds good. So I'm imagining that the reason why the EQing tended to go this way, where it's like a little bit more low, a lot more high, and cut down the mid, is because of the way that car speakers were made. It was like, hold on, car speakers have a lot of mid frequencies in them, not a lot of bass and not a lot of highs. So you got to tune your EQ to get it to sound that way. It's interesting to me that in music production, like, we already know that. How come we don't do like this? How come we don't? And I guess that's the idea. we know that once people get in the cars, most cars are tuned like this. At least my car is. If you get in my car gonna be tuned highs up, lows up, mids down. So how come we don't EQ like this? Like we know, oh, they're going to just boost those frequencies. They'll boost them and then they'll get the sound that they want. I don't know. Just a thought. But I think the hero of the day for sure is this guy right here, giving us a little frequency cheat sheet. Definitely check that out. It might be worth the ticket. It might be worth the ticket to get one. I think you can get it printed out. Oh, look, you can download the PDF chart, so it's free. Okay, cool. So I thought I was getting over on them. I ain't getting over on them. Now I have a much better PDF file that I can zoom into. Beautiful. So, so you can download it. Here, why don't I give you guys the link so that way if you're interested, you could go get it and you don't have to search the internet for it. Here you go. Go grab that EQ from Sweetwater there. Have fun with that. All right. What are you guys up to? What are y'all interested in? What do you guys want to see? What do you want us to test out? What do you want us to do? I had a thought on creating a combinator that would specifically target certain parts of this frequency sheet and would list them in that way. I had an idea to do that. So I would like take a combinator and create knobs and then just put like these different words on all of the knobs, right? But I would just do it for everything, for all of the words there: body, growl, air, noise, presence. It would just have knobs that just say that. And then you can just turn the knobs up and down. Y'all tell me what y'all think. Should we work on that combinator? Because we'll do that. Or we can just cook up a beat. I got a little bit more time on the stream. Shout outs to you guys for joining the stream, by the way. All right. So Sasha is saying, let's connect the drums from a combinator. Let me zoom out. Connect the drums from a combinator to a redrum. So let's go into the factory sound banks. Let's go to combinator patches. Let's find drums. I hate that one. Ooh. Now that's interesting. That is interesting to say the least. All right, so you got to tell me if there's a specific combinator that you want to use, because each combinator is just using a different instrument to create the sound. So for example, like the NNXT, for example, it's using the NNXT to create the sounds, right? So I didn't notice that they put this little battery pack thing back there. Connect a combinator. I'm trying to see how I want to do this. Because for example, let's say we did Reason drum kits, and then we loaded up a Reason drum computer, and we took this and we connected this there. Okay. And then we oh, I'm bad. So that would be doing that, right? So we just take this first one and we just would connect these like this. Okay. for the redrum. But then, but I'm going to say something after I do this. Then I'm going to say something else. But this is one way that you could connect the Reason drum kits to redrum. And then essentially you would need to do the same thing. Soul School is one that he wants. Okay, I have Soul School in here. You want to connect the specific things. So like, even if I reset device, and I just made a pattern in here, it's still going to play the pattern. Because what it's doing is, this is the CV out. It's just doing a CV out and it's going into the Reason drum kits. But Reason drum kits is set up in that way to receive those CVs from those different things, right? You could do like a bass guitar CV out, and every time you played the bass guitar, it would play a kick. You could do something like that. So Reason drum kits is set up like that. So that's like one way you could use Reason drum kits to do something like that. And then we could just keep building, right? But let me not do that. Let me see, where's a hi-hat at? Okay, here we go. Here's a hi-hat. Boom, 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 boom.
You seem so far away. You seem
Okay. Curtis King, calm down. We're done with that portion of the tutorial. All right, so now let's load up that specific one. All of my sound files are gone. All right, let's go to our Reason refill. It's gonna take me a minute to get there, but I got you. We're gonna go to Soul School. We're gonna load up the Soul School drums, and then we're going to do some routing so that we can play the combinator with the redrum. And I do believe it's possible. I think one thing we're gonna have to do is have everything inside of one combinator. I think that's gonna be the first step. So let me I gotta get back in here because I moved some stuff around, but it should be this music production folder. And bear with me. Okay. Reason refills. Here we go. And then Soul. Come on. It's there. You gotta make me go find it. No, it is there. I know I have it, y'all. Here it is. Seagate file, music and music production, Apple samples, Reason refills. Yeah, that's that one right there. That's what I'm clicking on. And making this difficult for me. They're gonna make me search through this whole thing. I hate when that happens. Because it says Seagate Drive F. Go back. It's there. It's the same thing. Am I missing it, y'all? Do y'all see it? And I just don't see it? I want to get that specific one. Apple samples Reason refills. Yeah, that's where we at. Show and explore. Is there another Reason refills? No. Man, that's the only one, man. They just won't play. It won't load up these. It won't load these up. Oh, that's so whack. I moved them from a different place, and now it won't show up. Let's see. Okay, now they're coming up. Okay, cool. So, all right, I have to just do that real quick. Maybe that's a fix for somebody. You guys can use that same fix, and let's see if it'll actually fix. Reason Soul School. Here we go. All right, so I think one that I use a lot was Memphis. So here's Memphis drum kits. We'll play them. No, that is Moto Bass by IK Multimedia. All right, so I think the way that I would do it is we would need to load up this redrum. Okay, we're gonna reset it. Okay, and then we're just gonna play these right here in this one, right? So same thing with Reason Soul Kit or whatever. It has a CV gate, and so you could just drag this over here to one of these. Hold on. Let me see. And then hit play. What was it playing? Did I record some? Oh, it's in the other redrum. Okay. So it's one of these. It's at the gate. It's one of these. Amp envelope. No. You need another thing to trigger it. See how the note on is coming on? The note on is coming on. But we have to send it to a specific note. And you need another thing to send it to another note. To send it to that specific note. But that's not the way that I would do it necessarily either. I would go into the editor and I would go to this redrum. Target. Save notes. We want to connect. So like right now it's already connected. We needed to play a certain note. Because it's playing something. It's playing like a low C or something. Let me see if I hit there's a button here to show you what's being played. Hit select zone via MIDI. But it's not doing it. Yes, it is. Okay, so it's a different zone. It's somewhere else. Let me go higher. Let me go higher. Is it in the middle? Okay, well now we done traversed the entire range. This is playing something outside of that, then that's not what we want. We can't use the gate for it, even though it is bringing in a sound. NNXT, let's go to the kick of the NNXT. Yeah, key right again. I'm gonna say you might not be able to do that. Might not be able to do that, Sasha. All right, so as we did earlier with Reason drum kits, we should have been able to do it. We loaded up a sound, we loaded up a redrum, and we have the CV of the redrum going into the sequencer control of the kick drum. But it's still not, let's see, it's still not receiving that information via the CV. Sometimes what you got to do is, so even if we did the low key and the high key, and okay, now we're getting something. There you go. But that's not what you want. That's not what you want. You don't wanna have to do that, because now you're not getting the sound. Or maybe you are. I did some other stuff, like with this key, with the pitch bend. So we can turn that off and not do that, okay. But right now it's just choosing random values. So let's say we have our kick drum though. All right, well, let's just do it like that. Now, the first thing I was going to say was, why do it at all? The first thing I was going to say was, why use redrum? I know that redrum sequencer, like I like redrum sequencer, but man, you got players now. Like you could use the same, we could do it. It could be done. As you can see, we got it done, right? We're using redrum sequencer with the NNXT inside of the combinator, so we can see it's using it, right? And if we wanted to do the rest of the drums, we just would need to go and do that as well. So we take the gate, take the gate and apply it there, but you have to open up the drum sound and you need to extend the note. You need to extend the note so that it will actually play. And there's a certain number, essentially. It would be D sharp. You have to change the note so that it will play that note. See, it's playing it now. So you have to I did it for all of them, just so I could see like what is the sound that's doing it. There you go, but it's there. That sounds like some Prince stuff if I ever heard it. Okay, let me go over here and turn off this one. And then we would just need to do that to all of these NNXTs, right? So we just go through, change the gate, add the gate here. So now we have a hi-hat, but we got to go into the hi-hat and we got to open up the NNXT, find the hi-hat range, or just select all of them is what I was doing. And then just dragging these guys out so that it covers the range of the piano. And in that way, Reason will catch it, right? It's always, I know it's a way to do it. It's always a way to do it. It's always a way to do it, baby. It's always a way, okay? Where there's a will, there is a way, okay? There's a way to do it. There's another way to do it too, though. There's a way to do it. Oh man, there's another way to do it. What I was saying was, why use it at all when you have a player that could just, you could use, instead of using redrum sequencer, you could use a player sequencer. I don't know, maybe you don't have those sequencers, or those players, I should say. But if we went into Memphis and we just loaded up the drum patch, and then, you know, you have all of the players that you could do. So you got beat map get you going right away, right? Beat map will get you going. I like beat map so much. Just do a random. And that's just beat map, right? That's just beat map. But you could do that if you wanted a sequencer. Get out of here. If you wanted a sequencer, you got polystep sequencer, and then you got drum sequencer. The drum sequencer is, you know, I mean, you could treat it like a redrum, and you can just do your drum sequencer like that. And I like that because now you got the repeats in there. And you got flams. And probability. So we don't want that to play every time. We can just turn that guy down. And they have presets. And you have this slide so you can nudge it a little. Ooh, we could do something with that. Hold on, this mono bass can do 5 strings. Oh, I'm all over the place. Okay, go to mono bass, do 5 strings. Let's make something real quick, and then we're gonna do that combinator. Okay, stick around because we're gonna do that combinator. We're gonna do that combinator. I think that's a good idea. We're gonna do that combinator. Okay, we're gonna go to 5 strings so I can get some lower. There we go. Oh, go to 5. Hold on real quick. I'm gonna send this to track. Sorry for the noise. I'm gonna turn this one off. So this is our combinator setup using the CVs for Sasha. Sasha, there you go. Take your time, map out those CVs, map out those instruments in the NXT for Soul School, and you got Soul School right there. But I would suggest using Drum Sequencer or something of the like. It's a lot faster. I like that sound. I might have to get my headphones. Hold on real quick. Yeah, now it's just the bass line I didn't like. But you could fix that with beat map. Not beat map. Fix that with baseline generator. Come on, it's getting hot in here. So every so often, this moto bass gets on my nerves. It just gets on my last nerves because it just randomly does this. I don't know why it randomly just plays this long. You hear this long note that's just going. It just randomly does that on its own. I have no idea why it does that. So we're just gonna replace it with an ID8 to be safe. We're gonna put this bass on there. Is that the one that does it? Finger. I think I gotta set the root note lower. I don't like any of it anymore. So anyway, maybe not the most creative day that's happening, but we definitely can get into this combinator creation. I'm gonna start up a new one and we're going to close this guy out. We're not gonna save any of that stuff. That's all done. And we're going to have our cheat sheet open. I'm gonna put it over here to the side, but I'm gonna just let y'all see it real quick. Put over here to the side and we're gonna create a combinator. Okay, so we want to create this combinator and we want it to be an effect. So we're going to create this combinator here. And I want to make sure that let me just, before I get to loading stuff, I'm going to just do this real quick. And then we're just going to name it EQ. It's in our patches. And then I'm going to just load up an instrument. And I want to make sure that I can actually add that EQ as an effect before I get to doing stuff. Okay. So here's our EQ. It does not come up as it doesn't come up as an effect, does it? Let me see. Did it load it as an effect though? It did. Okay, it loaded it as an effect. Cool, works. All right, great. So we'll save that there. So let's use I'm having fun with doing that too, by the way, just loading up a bunch of stuff. We're just gonna load up a bunch of equalizers. Okay. And then we're gonna start naming these equalizers. Okay, so one of them was called weight. Another one was growl. Okay. Let's stay in the lower area. Punch. Okay, punch. Boxiness. Okay. Girth. I cannot believe they put girth as a way to title something. So this is all of the low frequency, mid-range names that they have on that cheat sheet. Here's body. Bloom and meat. Okay, so bloom and meat. Meat is just, all of it is just, what is they doing? Like, okay, we gotta load up some more EQs. And essentially what we're going to do is like all right, so for weight, the range that they have for weight, if I'm looking at this correctly, is between, it's a little bit above 50. So I'm going to say 70 to 100. Okay. So we're going to set this up on our weight. We're going to set this up when we go to weight. We're going to do control 1, and it's going to target the parametric frequency, and we're going to set that frequency so that it goes where we want it to go. And then we also are going to set our gain. I guess actually, yeah, we would need 2, because really all I want to do, I can set the frequency myself. Excuse me. I'll set the frequency to where I want it to be. So it's 50 to, what did we say? We said 70 to 100. So we'll go down to about 70-ish right here. And then I want this to just be the gain of it. I don't want it to be, I just want it to be the gain. So when and then we're going to change this, to knobs. Okay, we're going to delete these real quick. And we're going to make this guy a little bit bigger. So if you're looking for your combinator tutorial, it would be this one. We're going to change this so that it's we want a knob. We don't want a knob. We want a fader. Yeah, like this. We want a fader. So we can just have a bunch of faders. Let's see what style fader we like. Big black. I like big black. All right, cool. So we got the big black fader, and we don't need a mod, and we don't need a pitch wheel. So we can even start over here. There's our control 1. Control 1 is weight. And what we're doing is, as we go up and down, it increases or decreases the quote unquote weight of the equalizer as it's coming through. See that? And what we're going to do is we're just going to duplicate that over. Can I do that? No, don't do that. We're just going to create more of this control. We're just going to create the controls like this. And you can also copy, like you can highlight them, and then you can space them so that they're spaced correctly. Space, align, no, don't align vertically. So now they're technically all lined up. And then when we get out of configure mode, we can reset this guy back to 0. So we have weight. The next one would be growl. So growl on here is between 600 and it's about 600 to 800K. So we'll go to our growl. We'll turn on the parametric and we'll go to 600. Let's start at 600. We'll hold shift to get there. Here's 600. And yeah, we'll keep it like that with that Q range. So it's just about 600 to 800 or so. And there's our growl. And then what we need to do is go to the device, add a target, add the growl target. And then we want the target to be, there's another way to do this as well. There's another way to do it. There's another way. Oh, there's an easier way to do this. What was it? Oh, you right click it. That's right. So we right click the gain, map to combi control growl. That's it right there. And so now as we turn this up and down, it goes up and down. So we can turn up our growl, turn down our growl, and we're good to go with there. And we're just going to keep doing that all the way through. And so what I think I want to do right now is just put on some like lo-fi. Just put on like some lo-fi beats in the background or something. It just let that play through. And then yeah, we'll just kind of just hang out and just rock out with this combinator, man. Let me see. Oh, shout outs to Reason Reason uploaded another one of my videos today. That was super cool to see. Look at my face. That's so crazy to see. Once again, working with Reason, man, that has just been a lot of fun. It's been really cool. So I think that's cool to see them. Reason Complete Beginner's Guide. It's a 32-minute video. I really do go through like the beginnings and ends of beat making with Reason. I saw somebody was complaining in the comments about like hip hop producers on Reasonstudios. Like they was like, oh, why can't we get like a country producer or something like that? And I was just like, the thing about it is I tried to make a different sounding track with that video so that it wasn't just purely trap or hip hop, and people still complain, but whatever. So we'll do Chris Reed. See, I want to listen to Zelda Lo-Fi, but I don't want them to ding me for listening to Zelda Lo-Fi, so we're not gonna do that. So let me just make sure. So here's our Lo-Fi, and as I'm working on this combinator, we can just listen to this. Hold on, I got y'all. I'm gonna put it on here. So just so we're clear, so what we're doing is we're creating this combinator using this chart, and we are using the widths and the frequency values that they give to kind of set up the equalizers inside of the combinator, and then we're naming those in here, so that way when we go to affect this growl 2, oh, I haven't mapped it, let me map it. So we'll map the growl 2, map to combinator growl 2, and then that way when we go to move this growl 2, it just adjusts the volume of that growl 2, and it's already set essentially as close as I could get it. It's set to the frequencies that's inside of this chart. So we've started on the lower side, so we've done pretty much everything in this range, sub to low frequency. We pretty much did everything here. Bloom, body, the different bodies, fundamental. I think I can do another body. I think I do a body 2 to catch this body of this acoustic guitar, which is basically, here's 200 hertz, here's 300 hertz. So it's more in the range of 250, right around here in the middle, tapering off at 300 and 200. So I'll show you what I mean by that. I'll go in here, name this body 2, and then we'll turn on the parametric right here. Just kind of give it some gain so we can see it. And then we'll go to the point of it. We want it to be at, what number did I say? We want the point to be at 250. And we want it to taper off between those values 200 and 300. So for this one, we might need to tighten it up a little bit, so it's more of a point, and it tapers off as it goes to the rest of those frequencies, 200 and 300. And then we just need to map the gain to body 2, and now it's mapped. So as we turn it up and turn it down, we turn up and turn up some of that body. And then what I'm thinking is, for all of the values, we'll just do one dedicated knob for the Q, and the Q will affect all of the ranges all together, or something of that nature, where it's like you can affect the width of the EQ, but you know that it's based, really the feature of this would be, hey, now we can see like a name or terminology for, you know, this EQ that we want to change. And so if I want to have more boxiness, then I know I can boost up that, and whatever I'm using it on, it'll make it sound a little bit more boxiness. Sasha, I appreciate you, man. Thank you. So that's what we're doing. So we're just kind of going through some of these. I think we did one girth. I think we did this girth. So we'll do a girth 2. And I'm gonna turn my mic off so I can just get back to work. Okay, so I guess it would be important to kind of do some testing, right? So let's move these values around, and then we're going to reset the values. So reset, hold control to reset these so everything's back at 0. And here's our snare. Let's turn up snare bark. And I'm hearing it. Let's turn it down. It got less bark. It got less bark. All right, what if it's just sounding too boxy? Now it sounds thin. How about we do this? Okay. We can even that guy out. I like it. I like it. I think that works. Y'all tell me. Does that work? Does that work? Let's go to the weight. Let's do weight and let's do punch. And then let's see what it sounds like without it. So that's without the punch. Let's put a lot of punch. Ooh, and a lot of weight. Ooh. I like it. Oh, I like it already. And then we can just and of course we're did I save it? Of course I have not saved it. I haven't even saved this file. So Sweetwater EQ guide, Sweetwater, let's call it Sweetwater EQ guide combinator creation. We'll name it that. Okay, so it's doing what we wanted to do. We have the female. I think some kind of way I gotta be able to put more text there to say this is the female vocal. Let's see if we type it all the way out. Female. We're losing room to type. So female vocal. We gotta find a way to add something in there so we can know exactly what the stuff do. But that would be the first layer, right? It would be like the first layer of things that we could do for the EQ. And then we would want to add some more because we haven't gotten any of these higher frequency things. So this could be our like low shelf, high shelf, or maybe come in here and do the editor and just move all these down, right? And then just align it. We just move all these down and then we can just come up here and we can start adding in more controllers to do the top layer. I think we're out of room. And if we highlight all of them, we should be able to space horizontally and space vertically. Okay, what did that just do? That's not what we wanted to do. Align? Nope, that's not what we want to do either. So I know you can do this. You can align it vertically. Let's take 2 of these because we want it to look nice and neat for sure. Nice and neat. Just do the bottom, space it horizontally. So now everything is spaced out horizontally. Do the top, space it horizontally. So now everything is spaced out at the top. And then you just need to nudge this over and it should line up okay. But it doesn't line up okay. Do I have more controllers at the top than the bottom? I might have more controllers at the top than the bottom. That might be the issue. So that might be. It just puts everything in one. So I know you can, well, I don't know, we might have to do that then. We might have to just go through, click these and align everything vertically. But there's more. The problem, yeah, that's the problem is that there's more low than there is high. So we might have to like delete one and pull this one up like that, because we do want it to make sense. We can highlight, space horizontally. And I think that's the right number. I think that's the right number now. Space horizontally. Do they line up? They look pretty lined up to me. We just need to bring these down so we have more room for the names, and bring these up. More room for the names. And of course, like with this, like we just have like the bigger unit. We could go even larger, I guess. That might be what we need to do. Just have a little bit more space. Just make a even larger unit. And as long as everything is lined up, should be nice and neat. All right, there we are. Our huge EQ, and then we can go into Canva and we can customize the backdrop or something, and we can change and have different colors and different stuff like that. I did do a backdrop before. Like you can come in here and select the backdrop, and I had one in here that I was using. I was using it for, what's the name? It's not any of these though. I don't know. But I was using it when I was creating the sound pack. Well, that was so long ago, I ain't gonna be able to find that thing. We gonna find that thing nowhere. Maybe red. Ooh, red looks kind of cool. Let me see. I know that there's a way. Where there's a wheel, there's a way. Let's go ahead and zoom in a little. So we can see. Yeah, see like that. That's not lined up correctly. Align horizontally. There we go. Align horizontally. Okay. All of those are on the same plane. All these on the same plane. Everything's lined up. And we can see the names, but the names are just kind of small. But there's a way you can make the name. Text color. So you can't make the name any bigger. If we did red, we would want to maybe go lighter. I don't really like red necessarily. I don't necessarily like those. I like the original. Or that gray there is kind of cool. This gray is kind of cool. All right, anyway, back to the lo-fi. Josh T, appreciate you, man. Thank you for watching, bro. Appreciate you. Hey, you guys, if you guys want this combinator, man, let me know in the chat. Let me know if you guys want me to drop a link when I'm done creating the combinator. I'll drop it in there. I just got to see somebody actually let me know that they want it. Yeah, the combinator, just had the idea to create a combinator. There's a plugin out there in the world. There's a plugin out there in the world somewhere that just for vocals or whatever, but the way that it labels the effects of what it will do is by using words like this. So this chart that I got is from Sweetwater, and it's a music instrument frequency cheat sheet. And so it has like a bunch of different instruments and the different frequency ranges where you could use those frequency ranges to do some EQing. If you don't want your kick drum to have a boxy sound, you could reduce some, or if you want it to sound boxy, you could increase it. And we actually went through many of these and we applied the frequency ranges in the EQ and Reason, and we noticed that, oh wow, it will give it more snap, it will give it more sizzle, it will give it more crispiness if we use the frequency ranges from this chart. So then the next thing from there is to say, okay, let's set up some EQs inside of a combinator, and we'll set the combinator up so that it has the names that correspond to this chart. And then what you could do is, instead of opening up your EQ and saying, oh, I want the sound to sound like this, and then you're hunting for the frequency, or you're, trying to go from memory, or you're trying to look at a chart, you just have this here where it says, okay, boxiness. All right, it sounds boxy. I don't want it boxy. Boom, I just come here and I just turn down the boxiness, and I just listen to the sound to see if it's getting more boxy or less boxy. And I should be getting a less boxy sound as I turn it up. As I turn it down, I should get a less boxy. you can go anywhere in between there as well. And I think that so far it's been doing a great job. Like we can clearly hear that we're losing a lot of that beefiness. But the EQ is not set up in a way where it's just you can have some specific sound that you want. So like we have this vocal area, and I'm thinking about moving some of this stuff. Like I want to maybe move this over here, maybe move this over here, bring down, move the male, bring down the female air, bring down the male air, right? I think there's a presence somewhere in there too. So we'll have our vocals down here at the bottom. So there should be a male body, male air, and a presence. And so we'll bring this one down here, for example, and we'll call this male presence, if I can spell presence correctly. And so as we go through and we look at our chart and we say, okay, where is male presence on this chart? We get over here to male presence, and I'm only saying male because it's soprano voice, tenor voice. I think they set it up that way on purpose to say that, I think they set it up on purpose in a way to say a soprano is a higher sounding voice, tenor is a lower sounding voice. So I just said male and female, but it could literally be soprano and tenor. The only problem with that is you have soprano voice, tenor voice, but where's alto voice, where's bass voice, where's mezzo soprano, where's mezzo tenor, so I don't think they're going specifically soprano tenor. I think they're saying male female. So we just set it up like that. So we have the male female body, presence, fundamental they're calling, which is like the base of the voice, the presence and the air. So let's do presence for the male. They're saying it's tapering off at 3K, tapering off at 5K. So that means the bulk of it is between 35 and 4,500. So in Reason, we'll go on our presence, we'll go to where we can get that point, that main point, to be between 35 and 45, which would be 4,000 essentially. About 37 or so would be like the middle of 35, and then tapering off at, let me see, where's our presence over here for the male? Tapering off at, I think I did it for female. I think I did it backwards. Tapering off at 3K, tapering off at 5K is female. Male presence would be, the middle would be 5,000. So let's just get the middle to 5,000. So the point that we want is going to be at 5,000, and we're tapering off. Just like the chart shows, we're tapering off. So that would be our male presence. And the only thing we need to do there is map this to male presence using this map to combi control, map to male presence. And so now when we go up here and we adjust this male presence, we got that. All right, so let's do the same thing for male air. We'll play our lo-fi as we keep it going. We keep it going. Appreciate you. Hey, appreciate the love, Sasha. Definitely saving the changes. I definitely got the patch saved, ready to go. I'll make sure I save it to make sure. I'm gonna give it a proper name and stuff too, but proper name and a proper background, and then we're gonna drop it so everybody can have it, man. You know what I'm saying? So I did see some people said they wanted it. I appreciate you, man. Get some rest, man. Take care. I just realized that, well, nah, I like the way we did it, but I did just realize, like, for the kick stuff that has more than one, I could have did one equalizer and then just use the other parametric. So one parametric for kick bottom, one parametric for kick sheen, something like that. But I like it like this because everything is on its own basis. And if you only wanted to use the patch, like say for example, you just wanted to add some weight, you don't have to. I mean, it's a pretty stacked combinator with all of these EQs, but you don't have to use all of the EQs at once. You could just use one, load up another one, use a different one. However you want to do it to keep your signal chain clean and stuff like that. I gotta admit, like, I'm glad I did it because this is definitely something that I would use. I'm using this for sure. Especially because it's already baked in with the different frequencies. I think that would definitely like help in a lot of ways. So I'm definitely using it. So for the click, okay, let's do it. All right, two more to go. So one more control here. I lied. Three more to go. So on this one, let's see what we got. What do we got that we didn't necessarily do? Box. I definitely did a bark. So maybe snare box. Let's do snare box. Snare box. Okay, so we can deal with the snare boxiness. The EQ in. We need 3 more EQs, and we'll do one for snare box. Go ahead and map that to snare box so we can get that done. Snare box is mapped. Find the range. Snare box's range is about 450, between 300 and 500, about 450. Kind of tight, tapering off. So we'll get it to 450. That's about 450 there. and then we'll tighten it up a little bit so it doesn't bleed into 600 out there. That would be the snare boxiness. If we want to be specific to the snare, we could do that for sure. Ladies and gentlemen, we got them. All right, so that's everything. So let's get into, we'll go into our Canva here. And, man, let me see something. Get to see behind the scenes. Where is it? I don't have a, I had to have had one. Reason course, and there's that. I guess I don't have it in here. Alright, cool. So I got a file somewhere that would tell me the size of this. Alright, will it show it in here actually? 3770 by 2070. Okay, cool. Let's make that. So custom size 3770 by 2070. 2070. Cool. So there's our shape, and essentially, I mean, we don't want much here. I'm just thinking something that says EQ or something, like, yeah, some kind of like equalizer graphic or something maybe. That could be cool. We could do like that, like equalizer, and then we can just load this up and do some branding. Chris Reed Beats. Let me just see this, just so I can see how far off or terrible it looks. Let's just download it real quick, and then we'll select it, just so I can see how off or on it actually looks. It's gotta be in downloads. Does it have to be? What kind of? Oh, does it have to be? It might have to be a JPEG, not PNG. I think it does have to be a JPEG. And not PNG. PNG. There it is. Okay, cool. Okay, so yeah, that kind of wrecks everything. But we could take that little design there, and we could just shrink it and put it up in the corner. And we have to like shrink it like a lot more. Can't get no smaller. We can't get smaller than that, but that's gonna be too big. Because even if because we could just like move everything down so that we have room for our little text or whatever. I guess that's something we could do. Put it central like this, and ungroup this, and then I don't know, EQ. We got a little bit of everything happening today. A little bit of everything happening today. Oh, none of that's gonna work. Okay, y'all. Don't irritate me, please. Okay, this thing can't get smaller. Okay, great. So we'll make that a little bit smaller. We'll put this guy in the middle. against the center. All right, let's just try it again. Let's see if that will work. Let's select the backdrop. That did nothing. Okay, I must have selected the wrong one. Okay, so that could work. We just bring everything down a smidgen. Smidgens. There's a better, faster way to do this, I know, but listen, man. We're gonna do what we got to do. That wasn't enough? I guess that wasn't enough. Gotta bring it down some more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's see if that's enough. I got all these files I'm gonna have to delete just to have this in there. Cause why? I don't know why. Who knows why? This one is the lower one. Hey, yo, it's like barely moving it. What's happening here? Now it's gonna be too low. Now it's gonna be touching the fader. All right. Yeah, we got it. But I'll be fancy and throw the Sweetwater logo in there too, since I got it from the Sweetwater music instrument frequency cheat sheet. Or I guess I could throw my logo in there somewhere. Should we do a different background? Oh, that would have been cool. But that just also it's too distracting. Too distracting. Don't be showing me no Fruity Loop equalizer. Oh, is that Logic? I don't know which one that is. But no, don't be showing me that. I don't want to see that. Still too distracting. Sometimes I like just like wood, like yeah, like something like that. Sometimes I like that. Sometimes like I think that's cool. Or like steel. We just did like that, like a little steel, a little something. Maybe not these. Brush metal look, but that might not blend in. It might not blend in with the what's the name? We need something lighter like this. Mr. Frosty Beats is really dope at this, actually. He does a really great job at like customizing backdrops and stuff like that. Like he has some dope stuff. If I can find something. Let me see. Okay, I have something I could show. Oh no, that's not one. Come on. Show and explore. No. Come on. I'm trying to trying to big him up, and none of the ones I have this stuff. Okay, maybe it's in the first ice pack. Let me see. I'm trying to show. I'm trying to show the stuff. Okay, that's just a patch. I need a combinator. That's so crazy. I hope my computer doesn't freeze and blink out. James Robinson, what's up, man? Okay, this one might be one. Yeah, here's one. Here's one. All right, yeah, that one. That one looks pretty cool. He did his thing. The ice, the blocked out area, right where the regular combinator stuff is at. Look at this. He got the ice pack. You know what I'm saying? See, that's dope. That's dope. I'm at the show. I'm gonna have to send him this too and be like, hey man, need you to hook me up, dog. Be like, how do you make this little? How do you make that? That's kind of cool. Bass series. Kind of cool, man. I mean, he's dope. Okay, so that's Frosty. Frosty, dope combinator creation as well as just visually super dope too. But you know, till I can step my game up, we got what we got. But here's the combinator. Everything is mapped out. I think we can leave it like this and not add anything else to it. I don't think we need to add anythings. I don't know. Because then you also got to line stuff up and it's just, I don't know if I'm trying to go through all of that. Oh, like here's a little metal plate. So like it needs to go, you know what I'm saying? Like now you got to like line it up. Like, oh, I want to use this metal plate. But then you got to like line it up. I need two of them. Because it does kind of go. I guess we could do something like that. I guess something like that would work. Got the metal plate, whatever. And then just get rid of that backdrop. And then even if we wanted to, we could add in, yeah, I'm getting ridiculous. Getting ridiculous. We gotta finish this up. But even if we did like add in like something, because I'm thinking like, oh, what if we did like a little, like a little border from here to there. Because we know this part we don't want to show. And then this part. And then we just close off that middle part. Or open up that middle part, I mean. It's just too much, Chris. It's too much. What you doing? Sit down somewhere. Sit down. Sit down. let's do this last one, and we got the other one. So if this one doesn't look cool, we'll just leave the one that it's on right now, and then we're gonna post it. Select backdrop. Okay, that's it. Mm. Hmm. I kind of like some stuff with this one. It's high enough, but it's not low enough, so it needs to come that way. And then for that matter, we can just spread this out like that. Use that whole bottom area. But then we also could just find a better metal plate for it to change it. So it's not. It doesn't have those lines. I don't really like the lines. The lines kind of distract. It's all distracting. Just let me be a weirdo, I guess. Um, ooh, gold. I don't like the lines. I love gold. I love gold. So here's essentially the same metal plate, just without the lines, right? The same little backdrop situation. I guess, yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's the same thing. You can just do that. Let's do it, and then we're gonna change the color of the original. That's it. Oh, because that originally is white. I got you. Stands out a little bit. Got a little pizzazz. You know what I'm saying? Open up the devices editor. Guess the only difference is, yeah, it's just that main background color could be a different color. Oh, now if we did something like that, like another a little orange or something, but then I have to come in here and let me see this real quick. Let's get rid of this background. We could change it to like this gold or like the reason orange, not black. Maybe something like that. Bum 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 bum. I got inspired. Frosty inspired me. EQ guy. Center this stuff. Space it out so everything's out. Maybe a different color. That's the Chris Reed red right there. And now the only other thing I'm thinking is if I stretch this guy out instead, so it's like the full name. Then move you over. Stretch you. No, it's like this. We got an EQ guide. We got some beat making. We got Canva tutorial. We got everything happening today, man. We got everything happening today up in the stream, y'all. Everything. I kind of like the sound wave as like a little moniker, but see, like something like that could work too. Instead, something like that could work. Bum 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 bum. Doom doo doo doom 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 doo doo doom. Do 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 do. What if we went back and got the plates? Oh, hold on now. I kind of like that. I kind of like that. But what if we? What I was saying. What if we got the plates for the names? What if we got the plates for the names like this? We do EQ guy. Oh, now it's looking fancy. And Chris repeat. All we need is for it to stretch across. Don't be whack. How come it just didn't do the same one? Oh, it is the same one because it's not the same size. Let it come through. EQ guy, Chris repeats. And then, do we need the logos? Why did we do two different? Yeah, I like that works. All right, this is the last one, y'all. I promise. I ain't downloading no more after this. That's it. That's it. Let's check it out. Select backdrop, number 7. Oh, that's it right there, y'all. That's it. That's it. And we'll call this the Easy EQ Guide version 1. First repeats. Done. Just make sure I go through and click all of these so everything is bypassed or everything is reset. Or just reset everything. Boom. I don't like the way that is. But anyway, that's it right there. We're going to hit save. Save over it. Yes. We transfer. Wait, cancel. Woo! Upload file. All right, so where's our little lo-fi? We ain't got our little lo-fi popping. Oh, it finished. Okay, we'll restart it. more thing. We still have to test it. Okay, let me test it one more time. So I'm gonna put an ID8 and then let me go into my folder and actually find it. And I just want to make sure that it actually loads in the way it's supposed to. So I think I named it wrong. I think I was supposed to name it with my name first. But here's Easy EQ Guide, and we just drag it over, drop it on top, and we'll come in here. There's our piano. It's getting feed. Let's start turning some stuff down. It's working. Yeah, look, turned all that down. It barely can hear anything. So that's great. And I guess we can do one more test with like a vocal. We'll go back to our good friend here.
And I know you'll never take it away. I got the wave, and I dare you try to take it away. I got the wave, and I know you'll never take it away. Take it away. Oh, yeah. I woke up and I feel like I should flex on this. Oh, damn. I feel I'm sitting, I'm blessing this.
Okay, let's add it to his vocals. That did not add correctly. Add it to his vocals. That added correctly, so he's a male.
I don't got time for your passive aggressiveness. Oh, yeah. I'm the busy owl, pissing out excellence. I used to go to sleep just to dream about the future. Oh, yeah. But then I got tired and made it come sooner. Oh, yeah. I heard your airball free shots like Kuzma. Oh, damn. We not the same, so please don't confuse us.
Male body. Did male body do anything?
I got the wave, and I know you'll never take. Yeah. I woke up and I feel like I should flex on this. Ooh, damn. I feel I'm sitting, I'm blessing this. I don't got time for your passive aggressiveness. Ooh, yeah. I'm the busy owl, pissing out excellence. I used to go to sleep just to dream about the future. Ooh, yeah. But then I got tired and made it come sooner.
Yeah, so I could definitely see like using that with vocals, even just using that last section here, male presence, air, body, and just saying, oh man, I want to hear more of his voice. All right, cool. Turn the body up, turn this up, turn that up. I could definitely see that being used in that way for vocals. So definitely did some stuff for instruments. We've been testing it out on the kick drum and snare. So I know like for sure that kick, anything weight, boxiness, punch, all of that comes through with the kicks. And the snare bark, that's probably my favorite thing. That's my favorite word that I learned today. That was my favorite thing I learned today was snare bark, because that's like one of the main things that I'll be like, yeah, I just want the snare to hit a little harder, like right there at the very top. And that's what I would call that, the snare bark for sure. I love it. I love it. I think it's cool. 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 The sizzle, all of that type stuff.
Yeah, I heard your airball free shots like Kuzma.
Even if it's just a like crispy.
We not the same, so please don't confuse us.
It's good. I think it's good. I think it's good. I think it's good. So I'm finna drop that link. Here's the effect patch easy EQ guide version 1. This was a fun one. And I guess what I could say is, oh, you know what I'm saying, you got to sign up for this or give me this email or to do something like that. But we could do that, couldn't we? But we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that to y'all. Let me just get this on here because I'm finna do my salutations. Salutations. Okay, right there. That's where we want it at. Right there. Right there. All right. So, shout outs to you guys. Turn up, turn up. I'm finna drop this link in the chat and put it in the comment section as well. Very small file, so it shouldn't take long to do that. I appreciate y'all for coming through to the stream, man. Had a lot of fun today talking EQ, both EQ and vocals, EQ and instruments, looking at all of the EQs that Reason has to offer. There is the link. I didn't even make you have to join the membership to get it, or give me an email to get it or anything like that. And if it's something that helps you or something you like, then, you know, drop a comment or, you know, check it out. If not, hopefully the stream helps in some kind of way, shape, or form to, you know, help you in your music production or help you using Reason. I really, truly do hope that I'm helpful. Shape or form. I hope that I'm helpful, help you know, in your music with what we're doing here on the channel. Dang, come on, man, what you doing? Okay, I just want to drop. Oh, I actually gotta close out the stream for me to drop it in the comment section, but it's there in the chat. I'm gonna go ahead and pin. I'm gonna I'll pin the message so it'll be at the top. And Reason EQs, there are 5 EQs inside of Reason in total. The top number for the poll was at 3 EQs. Those are the 3 main EQs, but you can't forget about the channel EQ and you can't forget about the vocoder, which actually can be used as an EQ as well. And if you want to get crazy, you can also include Scream, because Scream has a cut EQ in it where you could EQ the bass, mid, and highs. So if you wanted, you could include that. But for the most part, it's going to be 5 EQs inside of Reason, man. But super fun hanging out with you guys today. I appreciate y'all for coming through to the stream. Like I said, I do got to head out. I'm going to go get me something to eat. I got other stuff that I got to get into, as we always do. But man, loads of fun. Loads of fun. I like the way that the camera's looking. Got my little hat on, you know what I'm saying? Trying to not show y'all I need a haircut. Beard is out here. Look at my wave cap. You see, it's too much going on. It's time to go home. Well, I'm already at home. It's time to say goodbye. It's time to say my salutations. Hopefully everything in the video helped. If it did, please be sure to leave a like. Do something crazy and share this video. I mean, I don't know. They do have that button. You can drop the link. Drop it in a Facebook group. Send it to a friend. Send it to a buddy. If you found like it helped, even if you just want to share the combinator patch with them and say, hey, you use Reason, you can use this in there. Just share them the link and, you know, share everything. I would really appreciate it. But with that being said, man, until next time, I'm going to catch you guys later. Until next time, peace.